I'm going to make it simple. Accept or yield. You know who didn't accept the truth or even a little bit of criticism and refused to yield the floor to people that knew what the fuck they were talking about? Pam Bondi. That lying sack of shit, that bimbo Barbie doll, that gutter trash that absolutely will outlive her usefulness very, very quickly because she's never actually worked hard a day in her life. All she has ever done is propped up hate, bigotry, and self-loathing, because there's no way she could actually be proud of what she's done. But then again, everybody in MAGA's evil, and if you voted for it, you're just as fucking evil as they are. And Pam Bondi is the just absolute encompassing of pure evil, along with the criminal piece of shit that's rotting away in the White House, RFK, so many other people that want to claim that they're doing stuff for all the good people of the U.S. They're out for themselves. Pam Bondi's out for herself, but she knows that she is having her time tick away. The sand is running through the hourglass, and she will just be discarded like a used Kleenex, because that's basically what she should have been. She should have never been born. None of y'all in MAGA should have ever been fucking born. And guess what, guys? There are a lot of good people, a lot of people that actually just want to see this country progress forward. Pam Bondi doesn't want to see this country progress forward because she doesn't know what she wants, because people like her, women like her, don't know what they want. They want to be dictated to. Because I support women, but not all of them, because some of you bitches are pretty goddamn dumb, and Pam Bondi is the perfect example of that. So I just want to say in closing, abolish ICE, and if you support anything that Pam Bondi said, if you support anything that Trump does, if you support anything this administration does, fuck you, and fuck the fact that you think that you deserve to have a fucking voice. There's freedom of speech, but there's not freedom from consequences. The consequences are coming to Pam Bondi, and she deserves every bit of ridicule she's going to get, and then some. So I'm John Rant with my review of AEW Dynamite from Ontario, California, as well as my AEW Grand Slam Australia 2026 predictions. Yeah, I just want to really run people off that, support the MAGA movement. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to continue to do that, and if you have a problem, I don't care. Once again, abolish ICE. Abolish ICE. Fuck ICE. And guess what? I love the fact that the Vegas crowd did that. I'm a little disappointed they ended in Ontario, California, but then again, they didn't have a reason to, because Brody King wasn't there, MJF wasn't there. Hey, maybe Australia will. I mean, I don't know if they will. I don't know if it necessarily matters over there. But yeah, the crowd was really loud. Excalibur and Brian were on commentary. Shivani joined them later, and I'm going to say right now, Brian needs to go get his neck fixed. He's not going to be able to ever wrestle again. He shouldn't. It was sad to watch him wrestle up to Wrestle Dream 2024. Excalibur is terrible at this. He is just stumbling over his own goddamn words. Shivani used to be good. They need to have a two-man commentary team, and Brian is having to overcompensate with any knowledge he has by screaming and just almost getting to the point where he's throwing up. So, Shivani is hosting the face-to-face. Omega got a big pop. So did Swerve. I still don't like Swerve's theme. Shivani held the mic, but unfortunately Swerve had a mic. I'm sorry, but have the interviewer hold the mic. It's something that AEW has done before, and I would like for them to do it more. So, Swerve goes first. There's talk about being Owen New, profit with blackjack and hookers. And Swerve did say a weird line, insert himself in the title circle. Words not exactly, doing Swerve any favors here. EVP talks, they missed a chance to basically lay into that, but, Swerve and, Ospreay took care of the Bucks EVP status. I mean, I'm sorry, I did praise that match at All in Texas, but just, they missed their chance with that stuff, and now they're going back to it, and they're spinning their wheels. So, Omega said that the fans gave him and gave AEW the respect, and he wants to return that, and he wants to show that he still has it. And, talks about he knows somebody that could burn down the house again. That's a crime. The old Kenny is feeling good. They're going to have a fight next week. I'm going to make it simple, accept or yield. He says heebie-jeebies. Nobody talks like that. And then Brody King's name got mentioned, and got a pretty good pop. And then they have a slap and a fist fight, and they battle into the crowd with a trash can and a chair, and then a V-trigger into the screen almost. And then we get a spear off some tape or off the stage through some tables, and then security shows up. Apparently they were having coffee. There you go. So you know what? For what it was, I didn't mind this. It's going to be interesting to see how they book this match, because Kenny has limited singles matches left. Kyle is ready to basically shine in Australia, but he wants to do this on his own. Speaking of things to do on your own, I wanted to do something else on my own, like book anything else or watch anything else, with the opening match being Moxley, Pac, and Claudio against Takeshita, Mark Davis, and Josh Alexander. I will save what I feel for my predictions a little bit later on, but Take deserves to be higher than he is. I don't want to see Claudio. I'm sick of the Death Rider stuff. Alexander got pinned by Moxley. Moving on. Fletcher and Ciampa had a TNT Championship match and 20-minute time limit. Okay. I was tipped off as to what happened with this, and I wanted to see how it happened, because I'm not able to watch AEW live. I have a very good friend of mine that keeps me up to date on things that I should and shouldn't watch. He does it by choice. I mean, I really do appreciate it. Just want to say that. Rick Knox is the absolute worst referee ever. This motherfucker never deserved to be in wrestling. He should be, quite frankly, working as a science room skeleton, or possibly as a cadaver that, medical students can experiment on. He's not going to feel any pain. He hasn't had any blood flowing in his veins since the 1700s. There are fucked on Callis chants. Ciampa is motivated again, at least until the Garden Gnome shows up. An air raid crash on the steps. They were doing some good stuff. Did they do a little bit too much? You could argue him and Briscoe did a little bit too much. A backdrop off the top and a powerbomb for 2, an apron bomb. We need to stop with the apron bomb stuff. We need to stop with the apron spots after Jake Doyle got hurt. In all companies, we need to at least limit them, because if we see multiple apron bumps every single time, every single show that is, it's just all going to blend together. Brainbuster for 2. Stop having finishers kicked out of. Okay? It might have worked in All Japan. It might have worked in New Japan. But now it's ridiculous. Have it be a finale. And then guess what? In a big match, when somebody kicks out, it's a big deal. If it's a TV match, no one's going to care. So anyway, German off the top, the flash knee for 2. So Ciampa's doing some good stuff. And then a second knee for 2. A long dart, a kick, and then a brainbuster by Ciampa for 2. And then Kyle got another brainbuster soon after, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I see what they're trying to do. So I'm going to explain here in a second what they're trying to do. So Renee talks to Kyle. It'll be a match in Australia. Here's Mark Briscoe. They're going to have a ladder match. Okay. I don't have a problem with them flipping the script, so to speak, and them trying to blow off this thing between Briscoe and Fletcher. Because they're 3-3. Okay, whatever. Inadvertent best of 7. They referenced that in promos before. My thing is they should have had Ciampa come in, not challenge Briscoe, beat up people, challenge somebody, beat like somebody middle of the card, do some good stuff, and then have Briscoe and Fletcher have their 7th match. And then Ciampa swoops in, say after Briscoe went, or, retains, or Fletcher went, whatever. And then you go on to that. I just don't think hot potato winning a championship's a good idea. They did it with the TNT title before with, I believe, Sammy and Scorpio, and it was stupid then. You don't need to hot potato a championship that much. I'm not saying you need to have 6 to 12 month reigns. I'm not saying that. But in the Attitude Era, it was ridiculous when they would switch titles like crazy. They switched the WCW Championship so many times it lost all meaning. WWF Championship switched a lot. Khan has too many belts and doesn't need to be doing this stuff. And it doesn't bury Ciampa. It just doesn't do any good for him. I also fear that even if he gets a rematch against whoever, Briscoe or Fletcher, at Revolution, he's not going to hold it for long, because I think the Garden Gnome is showing up. And that is Gargano and Candice, and oh boy, why do I have to put up with this shit? Now maybe they don't. Maybe they stay in WWE for a while. But anyway, All in London is going to be happening. I will not be there. I know that's a bit of a shock. Grand Slam rundown. It's going to be 2.5 hours. And we get Daniel Garcia. There. That's what I got to say about Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia may be a nice guy. He is a lousy investment of television time. Garcia and Clark Connors, who's 100 proof, I felt like drinking while watching most of this show, against Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong. So later, Roderick Strong walked out on Orange Cassidy. It's what I feared. They're going to have Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong feud, and Roddy's probably going to join the Death Riders, which is stupid. So anyway, Darby then kidnaps Clark Connors. So yeah, that really says a whole lot about Clark. And yes, I know they left him in the desert. Apparently they didn't drive him very far out in the desert since he was able to do this. And then Cassidy pins Garcia. Khan paid how much for this guy? This guy has offered nothing of value to this program. There are people that are so stale here that they need to just let him work the indies, be off television for 6 months, and then maybe something good will come of it. But Garcia, I don't want to see Garcia anymore. I find him stale, boring, and bland. I'm glad he survived that car accident, but god damn it. So, Tony Storm, my word, that dress, good grief, with respect. Juice and her are so happy together. God forbid if the faces lose, is what I noted. They let Yuta talk. We need Leatherface. We need the beginning of RoboCop. We need him to end up like the brunette at the beginning of Evil Dead Rise. That's how you can win a hair versus hair match. I've said everything I need to say about him. He's a waste of space. He's a diseased pile of afterbirth. He serves no purpose. And it's one thing to be a Weasley heel. Dominic did that, and I hated Dominic for a while, but at least Dominic can work. There are so many people on the indies with very minimal training that have better presence, better promo skills, and better, aura, even though I hate that word, than Wheeler fucking Yuta. And then they brought out Mina Shirakawa, who is taking the Mother's Milk finish. If I had a choice between taking that finish or, walking out, I'd leave. I'd rather starve than take that. It'd be like trying to ingest Raisinets. And I'm sorry, that's mean. Shafir doesn't deserve this spot. She's terrible. They cut a little bit of Shirakawa's hair. So I really hope that have you to fight a goddamn emu. Yeah, I know what that could result in. That's the idea. His parents deserve to be put in Nuremberg and put on trial for... That's the sperm that won. The utter loathing I have for this motherfucker. Waste of goddamn oxygen. Anyway, Hangman and Andrade pre-tapes. Here's Jet Speed. I forgot they were the Trios champs. And then the Bucks, the Rascals, and I joked with my friend in Texas. I said, watch the third team be Private Party. Oh, it's Private Party. Referee Rick Knox. Winning team faces FTR. The Bucks won. I'm not going to watch anything with the Bucks in 2026. Are you out of your fucking minds? And then FTR come out to hype this up. And I'm over FTR. They're still great as in between, from bell to bell, but god damn it. Revolution was looking up until this point. They threatened, or they teased, super kicking Stokely. And then Ospreay hype package. And then Statlander versus Tekla. Tekla for the AEW Women's Championship. Almost said the TNT title. That was wrong. Almost said the TBS title. And I forgot Willow was a TBS champion, by the way. It's a strap match. So it's Straplander against Tekla. And look, don't get me wrong. I'm glad this got the main event. And I'm very glad that the women laid their shit in. And the crowd was into it, and this deserved a main event. This should have been on pay-per-view. And I mean, I'm not saying that I blame them for putting it on television, but it should have been on pay-per-view. This would have been the kind of shit that you could have put on there to actually draw a few extra buy rates. But this is also... Statlander took it hard in the face from the strap, Second hardest facial strapping I've seen on the internet. You don't want to know about the first. Statlander was bleeding from the face a lot. I'm actually glad she's okay because that was a little bit scary. And there was some good stuff here. Don't get me wrong. There was, like she did the spider suplex. Tekla did. She took some hard bumps here. They were laying the shit in. They made it work. I just wish it was on a better show. Lots of strapping, lots of back and forth strapping. This is also the second hardest strapping I've seen an Austrian give and take. I'm not going to say with what, but moving on. Blue Thunderbomb for 2, more strapping. And then, she got tied up. Tekla did. And moving on. So it looked like, Statlander might get the victory, but no, then Julia Hart and Sky Blue show up to distract. That makes sense. Distract, interfere. Makes sense. And then a spear, a tie-up, a stomp, 1, 2, 3, and new. Tekla wins. Good. This is exactly what we fucking needed. I got nothing against Statlander. She could win it back from Tekla, or they could just go on with something, maybe have, I don't know, Statlander and Willow have a TBS title feud or something. It is what it is. And then we had Windsor and Hayter show up, and it was pointed out to me that Windsor looks different. I mean, okay, it looks like she's been in the gym. She didn't look bad or anything before, but I was like, okay, it looks like she spent her time off doing stuff. So I was like, I wouldn't have noticed if somebody hadn't said something to me. So, yeah, that was Dynamite. So let's just move on to Grand Slam Australia. 6 matches as of now. I know they're doing a house show. They really should, quite frankly, do more matches, because there are some of these matches that don't deserve to go that long. So let's go Orange Cassidy and Timeless Toni Storm against Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta. Mixed tag hair match. Basically, the loser gets their head shaved. If it is not Shafir or Yuta, this is a waste. I fear Roddy could interfere, cost Orange Cassidy, and then we could go from there. But I think it is going to end up, Yuta's going to end up hopefully suffering more than Raven did in TNA in 2003, because that's what he deserves. He deserves a fraction of the pain that is caused by watching him exist and plague this program. I hope it's Timeless Toni Storm and Orange Cassidy, but God, I want Toni Storm to be involved in something better. I think me and Shirakawa will end up interfering and probably, hopefully, God forbid, if me and Shirakawa actually cost. If the heels lose, and I will not be watching this, unless they simulcast it on HBO Max, I will be watching this when everybody else does. This also may be one of the only Saturday shows of theirs that I watch. I kind of wish they would have just made this a Dynamite and had it, be part of, simulcast, and then it could have just been watched later. Anyway, so there you go. Timeless Toni Storm and Orange Cassidy. I got them winning. Hangman and Andrade. Winner faces likely MJF. Andrade. I have Andrade winning. Nothing against Hangman. Hangman could win. I just don't know if revisiting that's a good idea, because then Hangman's got to lose. Andrade could take a loss because, quite frankly, nobody believes Andrade could be the AEW champion. So that's what I got. Moxley and Takeshita, AEW Continental Championship. Takeshita better win. It better be decisive, and it better be almost a squash, because I'm sick of Mox. I want Mox to be gone from television for almost a year. He has really not offered anything of value. And they're cheering him. Okay, yeah, well, people will cheer anything. Jim Jones got people to drink Kool-Aid. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. David Koresh got people to believe in him. But Takeshita, just have Takeshita do it. If Takeshita doesn't do it, then just send him to Japan until May or so, because that's going to need a complete refresh. They need to do something good with Takeshita. Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale against Megan Bain and Penelope Ford. It is the Babes of Wrath against Mega Bad. They are making my jokes easy, because Penelope is not any good and is never going to be good. AEW Women's Tag Team Championship, and that being said, Mega Bad is likely going to win, because I'm not against the Babes of Wrath retaining the Tag Team Championships, because God forbid Penelope should never have a title, because she's not any good. She should be a manager at best. And Megan Bain, quite frankly, should be doing some single stuff, but also Megan has not really proven herself to necessarily be great on U.S. soil. I think Mega Bad's going to win, but whatever. So, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe, ladder match for the TNT Championship. I have Mark Briscoe winning because I think Kyle is primed for bigger things. Him versus Okada, likely, maybe, even though it would be a bit of a rush. Get that title off of Okada and actually make it mean something. Except Okada lost the title recently. I have Briscoe winning. If Fletcher wins, great, but then what do you do? Fletcher versus Ciampa again? Like, I think it's just a way for Fletcher to go in as champion and he loses. MJF against Brody King for the AEW World title. I am all for riding the wave of the positive feedback that they got and the mainstream coverage that they got for the fuck Ice chants and making Brody King champion, and MJF could win it back at Revolution. But the thing is, you have already somebody that has a prime shot, so it would be an Andrade against Brody King. I have MJF winning. I'm not against Brody King getting the victory, but I just, honest to God, think that they're gonna have it. Maybe Buddy's gonna return and Buddy's gonna cost Brody or something like that, or Buddy ends up helping Brody get the victory, and then we have a turn like sometime a little bit later. But I want Brody to win. I just think MJF's gonna get the victory and retain the championship. It is what it'd be cool to see, but I don't think we're going to see it. So that's all I got to say about Grand Slam Australia as well as Dynamite. And yeah, fuck Pam Bondi and any of the MAGA fucks that think that they actually are benefiting this country. They're not. They're only out for themselves. Same with the voters. Voters are idiots and scumbags. So anyway, there you go. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentland, and until we return to AEW programming again, this Saturday, that is, happy trails to you.